Welcome back to the Pittsburgh Pirates franchise. Today, we're going to start off by locking in some players. We're going to attempt to lock in Termarr Johnson for 10 years, $115 million, 11.5 a year. He signs. Now, we're getting into a situation where salary is going to be a problem. I'm wanting to lock in Skeens long-term here. He's wanting 22 a year. The most we can really offer is about 17. I think we can get that up to 18 a year. And then we have 283,000 left for our max offer. That's going to really start hurting, but we're going to try this. We're going to see. He's not interested in being locked into a long contract. If we do 4 years, we could get him at 15 million a year. Let's try 12. We'll try 12 million a year. Not interested. What about 50 million? Do you take 4 years, 50? No. Let's try the 15 million a year. Get Paul Skeens locked in long-term with this team, and it's done. Now we look at our budget. Some things are going to have to bend here. Like going into next year already, we're committed to 145 million. Not a lot of wiggle room, and I feel like we're getting into the territory that's a little unrealistic for the Pirates, but right now we're winning. If we keep winning, maybe the budget will go up. We'll see. We went 19-10 in the Grapefruit League. It's time to trim this roster. Right now, we have 39 active players. We got to get it down to 26. Starting pitcher-wise, we have Skeens, who is going to be the ace moving forward. We've adjusted his pitches a little bit. We'll go over that a little bit more in detail later on. We got Tarek Skubal. He's going to be another one of our starters. Oviedo is going to be a starter. And Jared Jones and Solometo is where the debate starts. Solometo did struggle a little bit with a 6 ERA in spring trading. Manuel Hernandez struggled as well with a 5.79. Alter struggled. Priester struggled. Harrington didn't do too bad, but only 3 innings pitched. And Wisenhunt didn't give up a run in 4 innings pitched. The decision starts there. What are we going to do? Let's look at our options for Wisenhunt. We can use our last one with him. We will do that. Get him down to AAA. Jackson Wolf only pitched 1 inning. What do we have for options for him? He's out of options. Jackson Wolf is out of options, and he is not ready for the big leagues. He's a C potential. We could try to sneak him through waivers, and I think that's what we're going to do. I'm not ready to give up on him and trade him yet. So we will do that. We are going to waive Jackson Wolf. Hopefully no one picks him up and he's still in our organization. I think Quinn Priester, if he has options left, he does not. That's someone we might look to trade. Harrington, we'll have to use his last option potentially, and Falter as well. Yeah, Manuel Hernandez has not been sent down. He's got that $4 million deal through 2034. He might be going to AAA. Looking at our relief pitchers real quick, we know Romero is going to be here. Holderman is going to be here. He did 9 2/3 inning, no runs given up in spring training. Ferguson did pretty good. Tristan Beck, not too bad. 2 innings for Hernandez, and we have one more option for Hernandez. Loaizaga, it's getting up there in age. We still have 3 years left on his deal, and he was regressing last year, though he did close out the season pretty well ERA wise. Let's look at the advanced numbers. Yeah, you can see back to a 4 FIP. Home runs increased, walks increased, so did strikeouts. That's a good. Yeah, we'll see about that, and make sure there's no one else down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right now. Okay, closing pitcher, that's what we're going with. Catchers, I did want to have a little bit of a competition. And looking at this, the D potential Jason DeLay had a better spring training than ND Rodriguez. About the same at bats, but we're gonna go with ND. We have our backup catcher. Could be our backup first baseman, second baseman, left field, right field. We got a lot of flexibility with ND where we don't have that with Delay. That's the main reason for that decision. Kobe Mayo, a little bit disappointing once again in spring training. He is on the hot seat as we go through to work our way to 26 man. Nick Gonzalez is out of options. 600, 5 at bats. I don't think he's part of our team. Bay doesn't have any options used yet. A lot of flexibility position wise. Both those guys might be moving on. Cabrian Hayes is definitely staying. Franz Talbot, 226, 4 home runs, 7 RBIs, 75 overall. I just don't know if another year in AAA will benefit him. He's ready, but we want to get him some at-bats. Garinger had a pretty good spring as well. So did Mitch Jebb, though only 14 at-bats. We got some rough decisions here. Tom Goss, no options used. He is a rookie. 4 home runs, 8 RBIs, but a 179 batting average. And then we look at Wyatt Langford, a 146 batting average with no options used, but a $5.5 million contract. That's tough to see that in AAA, but was not excited about the way Wyatt Langford has performed basically since Game 1 of the World Series. Lonnie White does have options left, so that's a no-brainer for us. We'll move him to AAA. Jose Ramos had a pretty solid spring for us, batting .282, 5 RBIs, 1 home run, and 39 at-bats. It's just, can you keep him here? Celestino did struggle. Celestino has an option left as well. Dylan Cruz struggled a little bit as well. .214, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs. Give up that arm that Celestino has if you go with Dylan Cruz right now. Ramos has no options left. Oh boy, we got some choices to make. Nolan Jones isn't going anywhere. We need to get rid of 9 players. 9 players. All right, I'm going to take a look at the pitching rotation and get it organized the way I want it, and we will go from there. The first move we're going to make is Nick Gonzalez is going to get traded to the Giants for Adam Harrington, a right-handed 18-year-old B potential starting pitcher from Australia. He's got a 4-seamer, a cutter, curveball, and slider. He's going to need a lot of work. He's going to spend some time probably in Double-A this year, trying to just free up some spots on this roster. Looking right now at the top prospects, we do have number 10, 11, 12, and 14 in Major League Baseball. Vinny Gomez, Ricky Robinson, Thomas Schwartz, and Franz Talbot. We have Vinny Salazar down here as well at number 23. And then Adam Harrington that we just traded for at 55. Joaquin Hood is still hanging in the top 100 at 75. John Woodward at our second baseman prospect, number 94. It's kind of interesting going through all of this as you see Goss doesn't show up in here and Talbot does, but I guess they don't consider Gehringer prospect anymore. All right, I got to make some more moves. Tom Goss is going to AAA. Jose Ramos, 26-year-old, 71 overall center fielder, C potential. I think we're going to have to try to make a trade for him for a prospect. We'll see what we can get for that. Trying to focus on catcher here and to see if we can sneak a decent catcher. Look at this guy. Wow, 20 years old, 82 overall. Looks like future star of the league. I can't say this name. Adrian, a 64 overall. He's 24 years old. Durability's his best stat. I just don't know if that's worth it. The shortstop here in Bobby Fishman, 57 overall, he's 23. I just, gosh, maybe you're not going to get much for Ramos. Let's just see if he clears waivers. I don't think he will, but we're going to try it that way. Not usually the way I go about things, but the trades just weren't seeming to make sense. We're down to 32. We got 6 more to go. Ouch. For Quinn Priester, the Cubs are offering an interesting trade here. Alexis Mesa, an 18-year-old, 57 overall, 2-seamer, 12-6 curve, changeup, slider, 92 miles an hour, so he's not going to overpower anybody. Gonna need a long time to develop, but he is B potential. Bryant Tillman, a catcher, A potential, 56 overall right now. We need some catchers in the system, so I'm tempted with this one. And then we have a right fielder in Tim Harrell. That is a C potential, 53 overall. Just kind of fill in the trade. I am absolutely going to go with that deal there. We are now down to 30 players on the active roster. Manuel Hernandez, only a 78 overall. We're going to start him down in AAA this year. Bailey Falter, we're going to have that extra left-hand arm in the bullpen. Let's take a look at how that rotation is looking right now. So we're going to swap. Skeens absolutely won the starter job. Look at this, 3-0, 31 innings, .87 ERA, .84 whip, 29 strikeouts. Scooble didn't do bad either. Jones did pretty awesome. Solometo Oviedo will round up the starting rotation. Jose Hernandez is going to go down to AAA as well. That will put us with Falter. We'll have Falter and Holderman as our long relief again. Caleb Ferguson, Beck, Loizaga, Jojo Romero, and Helsley will be the rest of the bullpen for now. So let's go ahead and make that move with Jose Hernandez using his last option. 2 more. We got to find 2 more. And if we look at the lineups right now, we have 8 players Okay, we got to trim this. This has to get trimmed a lot more. I think I want to go with 4 at max on the bench this time. So we know Endy's going to be there, and that gives us our catcher and first baseman. After that, we need to find someone that can play middle infield, shortstop backup, and then all the outfield positions. Well, center field would be the only one that is a backup. Oh, we have one hole missing here. So we do want to move over a DH just to fill up the roster there. So it does show us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players on the bench. I would like to get that down to 4, if not 5, if we can't really figure that out. Kobe Mayo's options. He has 1 more left. I think it's time to, might be time to move on from him. Gehringer, I feel like, is ready. I feel like he's going to be our middle infield, our backup middle infielder this year. I think we're going to try to trade Bay. So it would be honorable for him to go ahead and find an opportunity to play every day somewhere else. We don't plan on having him in our future. And I found an interesting offer from the Royals. Gregory Richards, a closer, 69 overall, 23-year-old B potential. I'd like to get a little more arms in the bullpen, and he's left-handed. I love it. And then also a relief pitcher here in Dave Baca, who's 21 years old, 65 overall, B potential. Decent velocity, throws 93. Overall ratings are pretty solid overall with a 62, 66, 62, 60. Yeah, I think this is a good deal here as well. So at maximum, we have to get rid of 1 more, and I think that will be Kobe Mayo. Kobe Mayo will start the season in AAA. So our bench players will be Mitch Jebb, which surprised me he made it through. Wyatt Langford, Endy Rodriguez, Joel Gehringer, and Franz Talbot will start the year in the big leagues. And we'll keep an eye on the pitching rotation and see how their fatigue goes throughout the year to see if we want to add that extra arm. We have 7 bullpen arms. I was talking about wanting 8, so we do have a little bit of flexibility for that. I'm going to spend a little bit of time getting AAA, AA, and single A all sorted out, and we will rejoin you. Got the rosters all sorted out. Here's a look at the adjustments we made to Skeens. He has a 4-seamer, slider, changeup, sweeping curve, and sinker now. And you can see the velocity on all of them. That's the best we could do. We don't have the corks that we can add to it. I think this is the time, this is the year for Skeens to become a Cy Young candidate. So notable things, we're still waiting for Ramos to clear waivers, as well as Jackson Wolf, who's way down on our list of starters. I think it's kind of interesting to take a look at our rotation. Now we're looking at AAA. Manuel Hernandez, 78 overall. Carson Wisenhunt, 73. Thomas Harrington, 73. Valenzuela, 72. And Muth, I need to figure out how to say that. Meath or Muth is 72. Xander there. AAA is looking pretty good. AA, we have Kellington, O'Neill, Hood, Salazar, and Adam Harrington. And we are starting Ricky Robinson as our closer in AA. In AAA, we have Eric Baxter right now in the closing role, but then Richards, we're going to swap those out. We'll do Baxter as the setup man, and the future, you know, we're going to have a little bit of a competition between Gregory Richards and Ricky Robinson long-term for the closing role. And just taking a little peek at the AAA lineup, we got Bradfield Jr., Woodward, Mayo, Goss, Beck, White. Pretty good roster there. And looking at AA, you can take a little look at what we have right now. Joe Stewart will make his AA debut this year. See how that guy develops. He is a B overall, but 59 at age 23. Don't know if that's going to work out for us. Let's get to opening day. With Ramos and Wolf both clearing waivers, we need to find one position in AAA or one player to demote. I think it's got to be Lonnie White goes down to AA, and then Matt Gorski here goes down to Class Single A. Not a lot of speed on the opening day lineup here. Going through this, gonna get this sorted out how I want to start the season, and we'll get into opening day. Hopefully you don't think we went overboard with the adjustments to Skeens. I definitely think it fits what we're seeing in Major League Baseball. You know, the All-Star Game starting pitcher this year. He's overachieving in real life, and he's been underachieving in our series, so we've made that adjustment. But I think all those numbers are going to improve, and like I said earlier, I think it's time for a Cy Young campaign from Paul Skeens. He starts off against Julian here, and I was playing this way because I wanted to see the team play and try things a little bit different this season, as we've already won the World Series. We're going to try to move through this series, or this season, a lot faster than we did on the last one. And also gives me an opportunity to really see these players, how they perform in a simulations type situation. I'm sure the engine is a little different between playing the game the way we're doing here with no team selected and the simulation engine when you just sim a game. But it gives me an idea of how the team's going to perform without me holding the controller. Here's a 1-2 count to Julian. And he takes a shot to opposite field. A leadoff home run off Paul Skeens. Not what we wanted to see for his first at-bat of the season. But Julian does take it 428 feet, 103 exit velocity. It is 1-0 Marlins. Moving forward in the inning, facing Bo Bichette. Skeens does start putting things together with a strikeout there. He gets out of the inning. No more damage done. But he does face Jake Berger here. Gives a walk to him. So we're a little worried about his command early, but his stuff looks good at this point. 2 strikeouts through 1. Termarr Johnson leads off for us, and he decides to answer back with a solo shot of his own. Another leadoff home run. I don't know if I've ever seen this. Both leadoff batters hit a solo home run to lead off the game. It's 1-1 thanks to a 438 home run by Termarr Johnson. And that'll bring up Bryan Reynolds with a 1-2 count in his first at-bat of the season. He hits a high fly ball to center field. Center fielder goes back to the fence, try to rob the home run, but he cannot. Back-to-back jacks to start the season for the Pirates. I really hope this is a trend of what's to come in 2027. Some power in these bats. I'm impressed with our lineup. You'll see in the future here. Perez facing O'Neal Cruz with 2 outs in the first inning. Gets a hanging curveball. This one's going to center field as well. O'Neal Cruz will start off with a home run. We have 3 solo home runs in the first inning. The Pittsburgh Pirates Stadium, PNC Park, might run out of fireworks tonight like they did in real life a couple weeks ago. The bats are on fire to start the season. How did Celestino get number 22? We'll fix that. We'll fix it right after this game. But jumping into the second inning here, Skeens is back on the mound, gets another strikeout, and like I said earlier, his stuff just starts to feel like it does in real life in this. And Brian Hayes with a nice double in the bottom of the second. The Pirates are going to try to extend this lead and put the Marlins away pretty early in this game. Nice leadoff double there. That brings up Dylan Cruz, his first at bat. He grounds out to first base, but moves Brian Hayes over to third. Next at bat is Henry Davis. First pitch swings. Gets it through the gap between first and second base. Brian Hayes comes in to score 4-1. Later in the inning, Nolan Jones is up with runners at first and second, 2 outs. 1-0 count to him. He gets a fastball right down the middle. Doesn't waste any time with this one. A shot to right center. It's 7-1 Pittsburgh. We've only recorded 5 outs in the season, and we have 7 runs, 463 feet, 106 exit velocity. Yuri Perez not having a good day. Jumping to the third inning, Skeens just really settles down here. Gets another strikeout there of Julian. And then moving to the fourth inning, Bo Bichette strikes out as well. Jake Berger, 0-2 count. Gets him to ground out to Termarr Johnson. Skeens really settling in, like I said, but here's the only other hit he gives up in this outing. Brian De La Cruz hits a double down the left field line. Bryan Reynolds does get it in as quick as possible, but we got a runner at second. 2 outs. But Willy Adames strikes out, looking. Moving to the fifth inning, facing Josh Bell, we have a 2-2 count, another strikeout for Paul Skeens. He ends up with 12 strikeouts, pitching 7 innings in this game, giving up 2 hits and 1 walk. Yeah, I think the Cy Young campaign has started off pretty well, besides that first at-bat of the game. 7th inning here, 3-2 count to Willy Adames. Gets him to strike out for Skeens' 12th strikeout of the game. O'Neal Cruz comes up to bat in the bottom of the 7th with 2 outs, and he's going to start off his season with 2 solo home runs. Is this an all-star year for O'Neal Cruz? I sure hope so. 428 feet, 109 off the bat, 2 home runs on opening day. The bats were alive. We've scored 9 runs at this point. It's 9-1. Tristan Beck comes in the 8th inning. He's got somewhat of a jam here, but gets a strikeout to end the 8th inning. And then in the bottom of the 9th, faces off against Bo Bichette, 0-2 count. Tristan Beck looks solid. Very solid outing from Beck. Facing off against Brian De La Cruz here. Gets in a ground out to Mountcastle, who throws it over to Cruz. Back to Mountcastle. Pirates win the first game of the season. Quite a solid outing for Paul Skeens. 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 12 strikeouts. Tristan Beck did just as good. 2 innings, 2 hits, 4 strikeouts, no runs given up. We had home runs from Chamar Johnson, Brian Reynolds, Nolan Jones, and 2 from O'Neal Cruz. Chamar Johnson, Brian Reynolds, Jones, Cruz, Celestino, and Henry Davis all had RBIs. Nolan Jones had 3, and O'Neal Cruz had 2. Everyone on the team got a hit outside of Dylan Cruz. We'll keep an eye on that. A little worried about Dylan. Second year in a row. All right, a couple of things that we want to kind of finish up this episode with. Physical appearance. I want to go to the hair of Skeens here, and let's see some options. I almost feel like the faux hawk would work. It's a little high in the front. Oh, how about that? How about that? I kid. I'm looking for something that's somewhat long in the back, but not super long, like he was at LSU and how he typically keeps his hair. I mean, how about this, Paul Skeens? I think this will work for now. Let me know if you guys have a different one that you would like to see him with, but I think that'll be much better than what we have right now. Then we want to go to Gilberto Celestino and make sure he is not number 22. 21 is his favorite. Let's try, I don't know, Celestino. Who is 21 then? I wish I could see numbers easier. Oh, because it's retired with the Pirates. Okay. So we're gonna do this. Let's do 25 and see if that'll stick. Makes him number 27. I like that better than 22. I'll double check that we don't have a 22 on the team now. Looks like we are good. All right, well, great first outing there for Skeens and the team. Lots of home runs. Ranked number 1 team in baseball. Things are looking pretty solid for this team. Overall ranking number 1, 4th in speed, 5th in contact, 10th in power, 1st in pitching, 15th in defense. We'll get to Tarek Skubal's first start next episode and most of April as well. We'll try to get through this Astros series next episode and see how the team's looking through a good amount of games and get scouting going and start talking about what we're going to focus on this season for the draft. I'm Sox Way Up. I'll catch you on the next episode.